Hello Class 1, this is first of many phonic videos that I'll be posting for you. I'll do a new one each morning and we'll be covering some sounds that we've learnt before, but we'll also be introducing some new sounds as well this term. Lots more writing, so what we've learnt last term we're going to blend and segment, and we're going to do lots of writing linked with our phonics and lots of activities. So I've tried to grab a few things from school to make it as our phonics lesson would be, but it might have to be a bit of mix and match, and we'll see how we get on. So we're going to start today's lessons with our flashcards. We always start with flashcards. Sometimes it might be phonics play, sometimes it might be me with the flashcards, and I'll just show you. If I'm directing you to phonics play, you might need to pause the video, go over to phonics play and then come back. And throughout the video, if I ask you to write something down, you haven't got it, just pause it, grab what you need and then come back and join in. Okay, it's going to be quite interactive. I'm going to be asking you to do things, so you will need a pen and paper. If you have a whiteboard, anything like this. Also, I've noticed that some children are using those Polly Pockets, so if you put a piece of A4 paper inside a Polly Pocket and a white clean pen, that would be brilliant. But the old-fashioned pen and paper is just as good, and we'll muddle through this together. So let's start with our flashcards today. Are you ready? So make sure you're telling your mums what they are. I'm going to go quite quickly. Oh, and another one drop on the floor then. So I hope you're shouting out. Keep going. There's a few more to go. I'll get a bit closer to the screen. So the flashcard bit is usually a very quick bit. So it's just reinforcing what we've learnt already before. Got some diagraphs coming up. Some tricky ones. Almost there. And the last one. Give me a thumbs up. How did that go? Did you remember them all? We should know those really well. We do practice those every day. Okay, so we're going to read some sentences based on some of the sounds we've already learned. I've got words here. We're going to do that in a minute. But first of all, we're going to have a look at some sentences. We're going to read them together. So lots of our phonics lessons, we do lots of reading and we segment and we blend and we put them together and we find the tricky words. We notice the capital letters, we notice the full stops, we notice the finger spaces. As all that early reading skills is really important. So let's have a look at our first sentence. Can you see that? I might just bring it a bit closer. Can you see? So I'm just going to give you a show and then I'm going to put it back and I'll show you how we're going to read that together. So let's get our pointy finger ready. Let's have a look at the first word. We know this is a tricky word. It always starts lots of our sentences in phonics. Got. So we segment the word and then we put it back together again. So I got a hug. I got a hug and a kiss. I got a hug and a kiss, and you'll notice the full stop at the end. With your pencil and your pen, let's see if we can write that together. So you might want to pause the video now, okay? You might want to pause it because I'll go on to the next one. So I would like you to write, I got a hug and a kiss. So you might want to pause it, try and hide it and sound it out yourselves, okay? And then we're going to move on. So pause it and then we'll move on. Okay, so now you've written that sentence, we're going to go on to the next one. So let me turn this one round. I'll show you a bit closer. Now I'm seeing it reversed in my camera, so I can't read it from the back, but I will turn it round and we'll read it together. Now this has got a different start to this sentence. It's got the word the, and it's a tricky word because we can't sound it out because the words don't sound how they should be when we're using our phonics. So we've got the, d-og, dog. The dog, b-ed, bed. The dog bed is in a mess. Let's put that together. The dog bed is in a mess. Gosh, right, I'm going to give you some time to write that. You might want to pause the video. Have a go at writing that sentence. The dog bed is in a mess. And don't forget your full stop at the end and your capital letter. Off you go. Okay, our final sentence. I'll put it close to the camera. Oh, that's off. A cat can hiss. Let's read that together. A, capital letter, it's the start of our sentence. K-at, cat. A cat, k-a-n, can, hiss. A cat can hiss. Cats are really good at hissing. I'm going to give you a few minutes now to write that. Pause the video and then we'll move on. Right, so we've done our sentences. We're going to look at some words now, and we're going to do something the children have done before, not very often in reception, but you ones should know what they're doing. We're going to be writing words and putting the sound buttons underneath. Now the sound button denotes what kind of words and letters they are. So if it's a single grapheme, we just put one dot. If it's a digraph with two letters making the one sound, we put a dash, okay? The children will know what to do, and I'll model that now for you. So if I was going to put the sound buttons under the word cell, this first one here, so I would write the word, so I'm going to get the children to do this in a second. So write the word cell. As you can see, I'm using leading lines and flicks, and I would encourage your children to do that because they've been learning to do that since September. So I've written the word s-e-all, cell. If I was putting the sound buttons under this, I'd do a dot under the s, a dot under the e, and a dash, because those two letters all are making one sound, okay? S-e-all, cell. Have a go at writing some of these words with the sound buttons yourself, okay? Pause the video. Choose which ones you're going to do. Maybe do 3 or 4. You don't need to do them all. If you're feeling really brave and you want to do them all. That's absolutely fine. But choose 3 or 4. You'll need to pause it because I'm just going to carry on speaking, and then we'll go through the answers together. Okay. Right then, so you've had some time to do the sound buttons. It sounds very funny stopping and starting, but I'm just going to carry on. So we've done the word cell. So it's a dot, dot and a dash. Bun. 3 single graphemes. B-a-n. Bun. And that's 3 dots underneath. Putting the dots underneath really encourages the children to sound out every individual sound. Sometimes when the children are writing, you'll notice if they're writing the word wet, often they don't hear that middle sound, so you might get a W and a T together for the word. So it's really important to do the sound buttons. Hop. Oh, 3 very distinct sounds there. Boss. This has got a dash on the end because those 2 s are working together for one sound. Boss. Back. Now the children do know that that C and the K makes that k sound. B-a-k, back. So it's got dot, dot and a dash. Cuff. K-a-f. And that has a dash on the end because those f are doing one sound at the end. Dull, a bit like cell. D-a-l. Dull. It's got a dot and a dash. Fat, 3 distinct sounds. Fat. And mess. M-S. So a dot, dot, dash on the end of there. Great stuff, well done. So we've read our sentences. We've had a look at some sound buttons that need to go underneath the words when we're sound blending and segmenting. I'm going to show you our tricky words that we're going to have this week. The children have seen these before. We use them a lot in the classroom and I'm trying to reinforce them so when they're doing their writing to remind them, oh yes, that's one of our tricky words. We're going to use that in our writing. So here is our first one. Now when we're sounding out tricky words, they don't often say the letters that we know, like a t and an o, to. That doesn't make sense. That's why it's a tricky word. When we sound talk it out, it doesn't say what we want it to say. So that is the word they should know, to. So when they see that word, instead of sounding it out, they need to recognise it as to straight away. So that's our first tricky word. The next one, g-o, go. You can't sound out as g or go, doesn't make sense. So that's why it's a tricky word, go. So they need to see that word, recognise it and read it straight away, go. And the last one, into. Now it's that O again at the end that makes it the tricky word. So we've got 3, go, to and into. So if I've asked you this week during our literacy to write a sentence or do something, see if you can get these 3 tricky words and see if you can remember how to spell them. Now usually at the end of our phonics lesson we normally play a game and tomorrow when I record our next one I'll see if I can find a game, but there are loads and loads of games on Phonics Play. Please have a look at that. The children love playing the phonic games. It's brilliant for their early reading skills and it will really improve their phonics. And I think I messaged you all about that it is free while we're in lockdown, so please log on. I think I put the link on for you. So have a good look at that, it's really worth it. And I'll see you tomorrow for phonics. Bye bye.